This week saw a horrific attack on a synagogue in Manchester, resulting in the death of 2 worshippers and the attacker. The man responsible refused to use the bastard's name, as that's what they all want. Well, he was on bail, accused of rape. Now, the reason for his attack could therefore be more a perverse attempt by him to wash away that crime as down to any political motivation. Still, the worshippers gathered in that synagogue for Yom Kippur, the holiest day in the Jewish religious calendar, were every bit as innocent as the thousands of Palestinians being slaughtered in Gaza. Their murder must and should have the same condemnation. And those online who have spouted this whataboutery, they need to take a good look at themselves. The decision, by the way, of the UK government and the UK police force to call for the cancellation of pro-Palestinian marches on Saturday was yet another example of conflating religion and politics. For too long, those who criticise Israel and its genocide in Gaza have been slanderously denounced as being anti-Semite. This trope has run its course. It no longer works. Only the most ignorant are incapable of distinguishing between Judaism, the religion, and Zionism, the racist political philosophy responsible for the genocide in Gaza. And those of us who lived through the Troubles have seen how the conflation of religion and politics is often abused for nefarious ends. There was a time here when an often used term was pan-nationalists. This was a catch-all to lump together those nationalists who wished to work peacefully for United Ireland with those wanting to do it violently. And this blatant sectarianism was clear on all sides, with attacks such as the Darkley attack on worshippers in 1977. Innocent Protestants in a wee rural church slaughtered. Why? Because they were Protestants. And the King's Mill massacre, where Protestant workmen coming home after a day's work were taken out of their minibus and executed. Now, those of us who lived through those dark days know just how toxic the mix of religion and politics can be. And therefore, I believe it is essential that we speak out and say clearly, not all Jews are Zionists and not all Zionists are Jews. For example, Orthodox Jews have been the most vocal critics of Zionism and regularly show up to offer support to pro-Palestinian protests.
So what brings you here today? To support Palestinian rights. We as Jews are embarrassed what's happening there in the state of Israel, in the Jewish name. And what's your message to the people of Palestine? They shouldn't give up the struggle. They should continue to fight and not give up the struggle against the state of Israel, because by the end, Palestine will be free, because this is truth, will succeed by the end. What's your message to the people of Palestine?
They should know. We feel very shame what's going on there, especially they're doing everything in our name. In the name of Jews, in the name of the Torah, in the name of God. It's so shameful. We are with you. You have to know. The Zionists are strong. We are weak. But God is on our side. At the end of the day, the Palestinian flag will be on all Palestine from the river.
Conversely, it is also wrong for those in authority to attempt to conflate protesting the Gaza genocide as being in any way anti-Semitic. The pro-Palestinian protests which took place on Saturday in London were, as always, entirely peaceful. The only aggression came in the shape of police carrying away and arresting those in attendance. And the crime of those taken into custody was to hold cardboard placards reading, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine action." Have a look at the supposed terrorist sympathizers being hauled off.
Anything to say, friend?
People really care about this country.
Okay, sir. Right, so we've got some bollards coming up.
Those in attendance were also protesting the illegal attack by the IDF on a peace flotilla sailing towards Gaza, bringing food and medical aid to the starving Gazan population. On board one of those boats was climate activist Greta Thunberg, who, when illegally arrested by the IDF in international waters, completely illegal, was subsequently humiliated by them, being dragged by her hair and made to kiss the Israeli flag. This is what the Prime Minister is supporting and bolstering up. Back in London, the police, at the behest of the Starmer's pro-Israeli government, were forced to arrest the blind, the infirm, and the elderly, with 500 people taken into custody, including an 83-year-old priest, Sue Parfitt, who's been arrested for the third time.
Oh my goodness.
Now, it's important to be fair and recognise that the police officers carrying out this very distasteful operation acted properly and were respectful of those they were being forced to take into the custody. This is the stark contrast to police in other jurisdictions such as Germany, where pro-Palestinian protesters are regularly beaten and abused by the local police.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Shame on you!
Still, it was hard not to feel anger watching such people being criminalised. And for me, this increased when I, watching it, suddenly recognised some of the police uniforms carrying the protesters away. I could hardly believe it. I had to freeze the film. What I was seeing were members of the PSNI carrying away peaceful protesters in Trafalgar Square in London. Seriously? I'd like to ask Chief Constable John Boucher, you've been whinging for months about being understaffed and underfunded, yet you decide that was a good use of your officers' time. Also, was any thought put into the fact that the faces of these officers were broadcast across the internet? The ongoing threat to PSNI staff means broadcasters here never show their faces. And that's why I'm very careful not to show any in this short clip. Boucher should have known that forcing his men and women into policing this protest in London would result in their faces being broadcast. Something else struck me as I watched the unfolding protests in London, and took a while, but suddenly it hit me. This is the same generation which protested against and helped end the Vietnam War. Yes, these are the 1960s hippies who faced down what they called the man and won. And it's brilliant to see they're still at it in their 80s. So to every one of yous, I salute you. And I do hope your nursing homes keep bussing you into the protests. Fair play, fair play.
You'll do nothing. You hear me? You'll do nothing.